Hello friends, today's discussion is about Niti Aayog and the concept and practice of cooperative federalism and competitive federalism. Cooperative and competitive federalism. What is federalism? Federalism is power sharing between center and the states for national security, economic growth, social development, human development, and so on. So earlier, from 1950 onwards, India had the Planning Commission. Those were the days we were planning 5-year plans. Government invested almost all the money. Government set the targets. It's a central government I'm talking about. States had to follow suit. They had to follow on. They didn't have autonomy. Someone described them as glorified municipalities. It had to be centralized planning in a command economy. What's command economy? In a command economy, it's the government that decides on who produces what, where, when, how much, at what price, everything else. Demand and supply, the market forces, are not autonomous. They were triggered into motion by the government. Government commanded it, commanded the economy, because there was hardly any private sector. It was all government sector investment, big ticket, steel and cement and fertilizer, roads and buildings and dams. They were all to be built by government money with the government machinery. At that point, right till the end of 80s, it was the Planning Commission that called shots. It was a centralized economy, and states had relatively little autonomy. They were at the mercy of the center. From the 90s onwards, we've been expanding the role of the market. Government has been embracing a role of facilitative body, not regulatory body. And therefore, the planning model changed from imperative hard planning to indicative soft planning. After a few more years, planning itself was seen to be redundant, neither hard nor soft. Let's get rid of planning because the states and the center have to work together. For that, planning was an obstacle. That is when, by the beginning of 2015, you had NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transformation of India. 2015, you had the birth of NITI Aayog. Planning Commission was created by a decision of the Union Cabinet. So was the NITI Aayog. NITI Aayog replaced the Planning Commission. And they are not statutory bodies, that is created by an act of the parliament. They are not constitutional bodies being provided expressly by the constitution. No, created by an executive order, both of them. Now, NITI Aayog was created essentially to ensure that center and the states can work together cooperatively to arrive at a shared vision for the development of the country, national development, cooperative federalism, bottom-up planning from villages to districts to states. They all will make their plans, and that will be made a part of the national 5-year plan, dovetailed into the national plan, national strategy, national development effort. Don't use the word plan. That died a very peaceful death with the 12th 5-year plan in 2017. Now, NITI Aayog is structured, into NITI Aayog is an umbrella name. In that you've got the governing council and you've got the organizational framework. Governing council is the political part of it. NITI Aayog, of course, is headed by the Prime Minister. And under the Prime Minister, you've got the Vice Chairman. Prime Minister is the chairman. Vice Chairman is Suman Berry, a great economist. And what is the composition of the Governing Council? Political. Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, special invitees among the ministers. You've got the Chief Ministers of States, you've got the Chief Ministers of States where there is assembly, and others, the administrators, be it the LG, be it the administrator, any other designation he may carry. That meets, it met 8 times by last year, 2022. So it meets about once a year. Whereas organizational framework is the knowledge hub, the body that has 4 full-time members, 2 part-time members, experts, and also it has a secretariat, and the entire body is taken care of from the administrative perspective by a CEO. So there is an administrative cum knowledge body, which is an ongoing body, General Council headed by the PM and having all the political leaders of the states and the UTs. That meets approximately once in a year. It met 8 times so far. And that is how decisions are taken. That is how it is structured. And now, so that's the structure of the Niti Ayog. Now, what are its functions? Let's see. The functions of this is the composition. Prime Minister, CMs and LGs formed. Regional councils have never been formed. We'll come back to that. Full-time, part-time, ex officio ministers, special invitees with those, if you are talking of agriculture, you have great agricultural economists, they may be invited. Health, there are great health experts, they'll be invited, etc. Chief Executive Officer, he takes care of the office. And there's a secretariat, there's an office. This is the composition. In that, up to here, it's very important. The Prime Minister, the Governing Council, and this is called the organizational framework. Organizational. We already talked about it. Remember, regional councils have not been set up yet. They are a part of the Niti Ayog Charter, but they are not set up yet. I will have a graphic for you. I will show you that. Objectives of Niti Ayog. Objectives. What would you like to do? Right at the top of it. Cooperative federalism. And then bottom-up planning. Bottom-up planning. Bottom-up planning. Because you're coming up from the villages, you're not top-down from the center to the states to villages. You're bottom-up. And then, economic progress and national security. Economic policy that incorporates national security. For example, we don't want to trade too much with China. We don't want Chinese apps tempting us to take loans. We don't want Chinese investment in telecom that can come with bugs and that can threaten our national security. So economic policy that incorporates national security. And then constant innovation. Think tanks, of course, you will keep in touch. Again, innovation, entrepreneurship. After that, you have intersectoral, all that is okay. Capacity building. The state must have enough knowledge, enough people, enough abilities so that they can make a policy and carry it out. For example, we are a large country, 1.4 billion people. If you make a health policy, you should be able to make the policy which is suitable for the entire country, all sections of society, and be able to implement it with proper cooperative federalism, coordination, bringing in the private sector, NGOs, and so on and so forth. That is called capacity building, ability to implement, having the skills, having the knowledge, and having adequate manpower that is adequately trained, and they are in a position to supply inputs to the policy and also roll out the policy. All these are the objectives of Niti Ayog. And they're very different. Planning Commission never had these objectives. Bottom-up planning, it didn't have. National security as a part of the economic policy, it didn't have. Bottom-up, it did not have. and constant innovation it did not have. And yes, the rest is common. The pillars of effective governance. This is fine. Even Planning Commission also had pro-people, proactivity, and all that. Financial inclusion of all, equality, particularly for the youth, transparency, empowering women and other people, participation, participative democracy, participative governance. All this we always had right from the beginning of our independence. We had, as our resources and capacity grew, we officially embraced all these goals: inclusion, empowerment, equality, transparency. Now, so we know the organizational structure of the Niti Aayog. All this we talked about. We have seen the diagram also. We have seen the objectives of Niti Ayog. I was telling you in the charter, there is the regional councils. Remember, so many problems in India are not confined to the single state, nor do they spread across the country. They prevail over a region. River basin planning. You take Kaveri. You have Karnataka, you have Tamil Nadu, a bit of Kerala, a bit of Pondicherry. Take Mahadai. You have Karnataka, you have Maharashtra, Goa. So if you want to plan for the entire river basin, you require a regional. Zonal council can do it. But Niti Ayog has a facility, built-in window for a regional council. Crop residue burning, Delhi, Western UP, Haryana and Punjab. Let there be a regional council headed by all the CMs, and they will work out a solution. Left-wing extremism, that can also be tackled through a regional council. But so far, regional councils have never been set up as of now. What are instead in their place, what are set up are subgroups of the chief ministers. But they are not like regional councils. They apply to the entire country. Regional councils pertain to a certain region, east or west or center, south or north. They have never been set up. Composition we know. Regional councils we have just now seen. Functions we know. Objectives: shared vision for national development, cooperative federalism, bottom-up planning, innovation, capacity building, liaising with national, international think tanks, all that. Now we have to get head-on with the topic, cooperative federalism. What is it? And how will Niti Ayog facilitating the same? Cooperative federalism is, in the Niti Ayog charter, it is clearly said that strong states are important for a strong nation. After all, territory is that of states. Which nation is strong? Only that nation which grows from the economic perspective, where there is human development, where there is science and technology, where there is participation of the people, where there is high level of education, skill, and so on, socio-economic mobility, inclusion. All that is in the domain of the states. So strong states means a strong nation. Government of India provides a direction, resources, and coordination. But heavy lifting has to be done by the states themselves. So, in cooperative federalism, the charter says, I told you, strong states make for strong nation. What is cooperative federalism? Take any important challenge that India faces. Take food security. It is the government of India, through the Finance Commission, that enables procurement and stocking of food grains. States distribute that through the public distribution system. So the food security of the country depends upon the cooperation of the center and the states. Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Manrega. Government of India funds it almost entirely. But it is overseen by Panchayati Raj, which is under the control of the states. So once again, center and the states are cooperating to ensure that tens of thousands of crores of rupees are spent annually for employing off-season rural people. That again, they are cooperating. be it agriculture, be it environment, be it national security, be it food security, be it employment security, be it price stability, all of them require the center and the states to cooperate. So how is NITI Aayog helping the center and the states to cooperate? There is a governing council, there is room for regional council, and NITI Aayog set up 4 subgroups of states. Here, subgroups. They're all headed by the chief ministers. If you take, how is Manrega helping agriculture? Manrega restores water bodies. That's very crucial for agriculture. To give you just one example, that will enhance agricultural productivity. That will create better incomes for the farmers. So Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme and agriculture, how can they work together? There was a subgroup. That subgroup was headed by the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh in 2015. There was another subgroup that is about centrally sponsored schemes. What are the states saying? States are saying the center is deciding on a scheme. It says we'll give you half the money, you chip in with half the money. They're not being consulted fully about the details and so on. It is being thrust on us. We are trapped into it. We have no autonomy to design nor autonomy to implement. We are constantly supervised by the center. That's not federalism at all. So how do we ensure that the center and states work together in all these important centrally sponsored schemes, be it in health or water or agriculture, education, etc.? There was the Chief Minister's subgroup, again headed by the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. That was in 2015. Then there was a skill development. For skill development, there was a subgroup headed by Shri Prakash Singh Badal. And then there was one on Swachh Bharat. That was headed by the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Headed by CM, all right. It's not even said headed by, they're conveners. They bring together many other chief ministers. And with the help of the Secretariat of NITI Aayog, they delve into the topic and give recommendations for national development. This is exactly what is known as shared national development. Participation of the states, bottom-up planning and implementation. So the NITI Aayog subgroups are a classical example for cooperative federalism. I'll give you some more examples for cooperative federalism. NITI Aayog publishes school education quality. Remember, in India, 90% of children go to school, but how many of them actually have a level of learning that is required for their age? Not many. There are very good schools, but there are not too many of them. So, if the NITI Aayog constructs an index to show to what extent the states have achieved learning outcomes which are optimal, then the states can compete. States can compete. NITI Aayog showing the quality of learning outcomes is a cooperative federalism. Education is in the concurrent list. Center and the states together have to work for it. So NITI Aayog will tell the states where they stand, and the states will have to do the, work of upgrading the learning outcomes. That is cooperative. What is competitive? So the school education index for all the states will be put up. Incremental progress, which is what is called delta ranking, last month to this month to next month, gradual trajectory of progress will be shown. And that is how they can compete to have better and better learning outcomes, either by public-private partnerships or by enhancement of capacity or by digital supervision and digital schooling, etc., etc. Similarly, health index. How many hospitals are there? How much are you spending? How many doctors and nurses are there? What is the IMR? What is the MMR? And so on and so forth. What is the nutritional level? All that. Sustainable Development Goals Index. All the states will be shown in a single dashboard where they stand. So NITI Aayog helps the states to come up to a certain level by publishing these indices, and states compete with one another so that They can have better outcomes, be it in sustainable development, health, education, innovation, export preparedness, export competitive index. You know, they're all the indices made by NITI Aayog to hold a mirror to the states. That is cooperative federalism. Having held a mirror, it is helping the states to compete. That is competitive federalism. Who competes with whom? States compete with each other, one another. Center and the states compete with each other so that there is competition for good governance, competition for sustainable development, competition for e-governance, competition for infrastructure, and so on and so forth. This is competitive federalism among the states and between the states and the center. Cooperative federalism is center and the states cooperate for, outcomes in terms of governance, in terms of growth, in terms of development, empowerment, and so on and so forth. That is how Niti Ayog helps. Now I'll give you one more example. In this example, I'm going to show you once again cooperative and competitive federalism, how Niti Ayog is helping. See, Niti Ayog took over Aspirational Districts Program in 2018 January. Honorable PM launched it. 112 districts across the country. They were chosen based upon certain social and human yardsticks, infrastructure also, be it financial inclusion, infrastructure, learning outcomes, health, nutrition, all that. Here, nutrition, education, agriculture, water, financial inclusion, skill and basic infrastructure. These are the criteria based on which the lagging districts were chosen. Originally, they were called Bimaru, but that is a wrong term. Therefore, it got replaced by aspirational districts. Union government launched it. It brought the states into play and also involved the local self-government institutions. States have a plan for water resources. Union government has one. Why duplicate? Integrate the two. Save the resources. Improve the focus. Union government officials, state government officials, and the district officials, they were all competing. Nodal officers, central, state, and nodal officers for each district. So when it comes to administrative machinery, there was synchronization. When it comes to center and the state schemes being integrated, there was focused approach. This is how, and through delta ranking, that is a gradual progress each district was making in all the 6 indicators was shown so that the states could compete with one another. And the best practices of the districts were on display so that others could catch up. That is how Niti Ayog facilitated cooperative federalism and competitive federalism. Similarly, you take Gati Shakti. You know Gati Shakti, that is the website, the portal on which center, states, private sector, public sector, they all come together to conceive an infrastructure project, to see how far it is working well, where are the barriers, how can we overcome them, how can we coordinate, etc. Who is helping ministries to come together rather than work in a narrow silos, come together, coordinating? Niti Ayog. Gati Shakti is a major example of cooperative federalism. And facilitating the same is Niti Ayog. So Niti Ayog comes into picture once again as facilitator of cooperative federalism. Here, cooperative as well as competitive federalism. Now, I want to show you regional councils. We have talked about it. Main functions, cooperative federalism. Strong states make a strong nation, and then bottom-up planning, that is aggregate the plans of the villages and mandals to constitute a district plan and bring all the district plans together to constitute state, and via the state a national plan. That is bottom-up planning. So Niti Ayog facilitates the same. And this is the structure of the NITI Aayog. Now, let us consolidate. Why are we saying that NITI Aayog is a major innovation in terms of creating the culture of cooperation among the federal units? We know the structure and composition is cooperative. The charter itself spells out cooperative federalism. It says cooperative federalism. It says bottom-up. It also says that strong states make a strong nation. So that is a strong emphasis on the autonomy of the states, participation of the states in national growth, development, and so on. And you know what NITI Aayog does? Take land lease plan. Farmers have land, lease it to corporates. Corporates will grow, create income, offer farmers whose land it is, monthly or quarterly payments so that they have security of income and they can plan for the education and so on of their children. Model land leasing law. NITI Aayog formulated it and kept it on the website, circulated it among the states. Whoever wanted it could take it. Similarly, sustainable development, school, hospital, water, exports, multi-dimensional poverty. See, originally in India, we calculated poverty based upon the consumption of certain number of calories. But that is not multi, that is a single factor, and that was just the food, nothing else mattered. And in the last 15 years after Tendulkar Committee on Poverty Definition and Estimation, we started attacking poverty on a multi-dimensional basis, not just calories, but also medicine, education, transport, clothes, footwear, all of them combined together. A certain minimum was defined to constitute poverty, and the monetary value of the same would be poverty, etc. NITI Aayog constructed a multi-dimensional poverty like the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, made a multi-dimensional poverty. And once you put it up on the website, circulate it to the states, they can compete with one another. NITI Aayog can give them blueprints for better development and more effective alleviation of poverty, etc., etc. So whichever way you see, NITI Aayog is there everywhere, bringing the center and the states together and also making the states and center compete for better governance, more effective development, better participation, etc., etc. It's not confined to only one sector. It is agriculture, it is exports, it is poverty alleviation, it is water conservation, and so much else. So what do we have now? But you remember, NITI Aayog did not fall from heavens. The state of facilitation of economic growth, the institutional structure, is a reflection of the political economy. If the party system facilitates cooperation, there will be cooperation. You can't have hard planning, nearly monopolized by the union government, and at the same time cooperative federalism. You can't have. You will have centralization. You can't have single party dominating and not have centralization. So how far NITI Aayog will work well, effectively, to the satisfaction of the states in terms of their participation, shared national goals and development, that will depend upon how the party system in India evolves. That's a very crucial input into understanding what kind of economic growth we will have, the institutional, the architecture of the institutions that will facilitate economic growth. So that's the lecture about the NITI Aayog and its contribution to competitive and cooperative federalism. I wish you all the best. God bless you.